is Sports Connection. I'm your host, Tracy Abdullah, with my co-host, Carl Lee, and we have taken the show on the road once again. We are at Appalachian Power Park. It's actually the 15th season for Appalachian Power Park, and we have the brand new GM, Jeremy Taylor. Jeremy, thanks for coming on, man.
Absolutely, appreciate it.
Listen, you've been in baseball quite some time. Actually, we worked together when this place first opened.
Yep.
You were pretty new, and then I was in baseball, left baseball, came back to it.
Right.
But what a fun season that first season was.
Yeah, I mean, it was, opening a brand new stadium is always a treat, but especially in like downtown Charleston, moving from an old stadium, across the street that was pretty old, it was built in 1945, to coming into a $23 million facility. It was quite interesting.
And not to tell your age or my age, but you've been in baseball a while. This is your 17th season, right?
Correct.
Now, they've all been with this organization, but it's not always been this organization, right?
Correct. So I came on as an intern 2004 at Watt Powell, and I was actually started out as a media relations intern, and then we decided we were going to have an actual broadcast team. So I switched to retail intern, and then after that, it's history.
What, in your initial year, did you foresee this moment? Being in this, was that your goal, or were you just kind of in it to see what was going to happen and you just enjoyed it?
No, it's actually, you come into the industry knowing what you're getting into. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of hours. It's a lot of toll on your body. In fact, just last February, I had to have a surgery on my ankle, and the doctor told me that it was usually like 55-year-old basketball players that have that surgery. But this was actually because of so much concrete, and we have a stadium that is 360.
Right.
So you're going from here to there, and our office is right here. If you got to go to the picnic garden, we used to track it actually with pedometers. The most I've ever walked in one day at the stadium was 17.6 miles.
That's a lot of moving.
Well,
that's a lot of moving.
Now you know why I got out of single A baseball.
Right.
So you've really done just about everything that you can do. I mean, you've been a sales executive, account executive. You've been director of sales, director of operations, the assistant general manager, now the general manager.
Right.
I know this getting the promotion to general manager kind of just crept up on you. I mean, Tim, your predecessor,
True.
Good man, good friend of ours, and he was here, and then he came in and saw me one day. Said, "Well, I'm leaving." I was like, "What do you mean?"
Right.
So and then you were announced. So congratulations again.
Appreciate
man.
it. Appreciate it.
You've paid your dues.
Oh, absolutely. It's a long time coming, but I'm fortunate that I have all of those steps. There are a lot of people that get forced into the top that don't have the production or promotions or food and beverage or baseball operations as far as the ballpark goes. I can easily jump out on that field right now and help out, but a lot of people couldn't at that point. Even jump into the ticket office and sell some tickets.
Well, which one do you think has it will help you most at the GM position? Or is it a combination of all of them?
It's a combination because let's say you're food and beverage director. So here you have about 100 employees, right? So you have like the HR side to be able to know how to deal with employees. But operationally, you're able to step back and say, this is going to work for us. This isn't going to work for us. And you got to know the area too. That's I'm born and raised in Charleston. And if you didn't know the area, you could, like we sat down 5-6 years ago and said, let's put together, a promotion and say, let's put together a redneck night. And if you got people that aren't from around here, they're like, well, what does this mean? But we ended up winning a minor league baseball award for promotion of the year.
Really?
Yep. 2011, maybe, I want to say.
What does redneck night entail?
Well, we actually suspended it last year just to be able to do a wrestling night. So we'd go off and on. But it's coming back this year. So, for instance, in 2008 or 17, the Redneck Night was sponsored by Todd Judy Ford. Or it may have been, actually it was Burt Wolf, sorry. But they came in, they brought us 2 F-150s. and we lined them with, like a cover, and then we filled them with water. And so that was the redneck hot tub. And we had, literally had people like begging to get in there, but you couldn't let them, obviously. But we did redneck bachelor, redneck wedding. We actually had a redneck wedding multiple times. But so this
Real weddings?
Yeah, still legally binding. Legally binding. Actually, Gunner was with the Wolf, was the officiant because he was a legal.
Really?
Yeah, he could marry you. So we do, that's just tongue-in-cheek stuff. But like we're bringing it back this year, so we have a bobblehead of one of our former players, Austin Meadows, who now plays for the Blue Jays, I believe, or no, Tampa Bay Rays. But it's in a camo jersey, and we haven't lined out all the details, but we'll do some silly stuff like that.
How important are things like that at this level of the game, and how much does it even appeal to the players, or do they just kind of just go about their business?
It's 50-50, I think. It's very important that, we always say when we're selling sponsorships and stuff like that, that we have the utmost ability to present the most creative product. So let's say like a redneck night. In the past, we've done duck calls as a giveaway, and we had the Mountain Man from Duck Dynasty, crushed it. So we're able.
He was here.
Yeah, signing autographs and stuff like that. In times like we did this is way back in the time machine. We did a Jessica White night, and instead of doing the actual bobblehead, we actually did a bobble leg because he was the dancing outlaw. And he came in, signed autographs. He actually put out a tip jar on the table that said gas money. He made like $350. True story.
Wow. Jessica White. You're reaching into the past now.
Right.
All right, so what was it like? I mean, I remember coming into this park and us having our orientations, and we were sitting right over there in the bleachers, and I remember all I could think of is, like a kid in a candy store. You got a brand new toy. You got something that was just really exciting. I loved Watt Power Park. I worked there as well.
Right.
But this was just at the time, and still had all the bells and whistles, and it was just such a, I don't want to say improvement, but it was so different.
Yeah, and the whole idea of building it downtown in this area was to revitalize it. And truthfully, if you look at the loft buildings, the ATV place across the street, it ultimately was to bring people back to this area. So now there's all kinds of housing downtown, all kinds of business, and it's still that place. There's not much to do in the city, truthfully. I mean, you can go to movies and whatever you can do at Southridge, but our thing is like 15 years of memories and fun. And we joke and say that because we're celebrating the 15 years, that we're talking, our favorite F word this summer is fun. So
we're going to go to a commercial break on that one. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
You can do and you can say anything you want. Live your life and I'll live mine any way I want. You can have and you can take anything you want, but everything that you do, make it what you want. Anything you want, and I want. You can do and you can say anything you want, but everything that you do, make it what you want.
This isn't just a beer. It's a lager. A medium-bodied, amber-colored, one-of-a-kind beer. Made from those bold enough to brew it, for those bold enough to drink it. Tap into your inner eagle. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings.
It's football season again, and Tony the Tailor has the perfect sportswear, outerwear, and footwear. Johnny O quarter zips and sports shirts. Bill's khakis, and boots from Allen Edmonds are what the smart people are wearing this season for game time and play time. We have a great selection in our downtown Charleston store, or shop at our new downtown Huntington location. Can't make it in? Shop online at bestmastertailor.com. Tony the Tailor, West Virginia's finest men's store.
West Virginia Sports Connection is brought to you by Subway, Development of West Virginia, Greg Hammond. With promotional consideration from Spriggs Distributing Company, Yingling Golden Pilsner, Hendrickson and Long, Riggs Commercial Realty, Angel Moore, Broker, Paul M. Corey, CPA.
Welcome back to West Virginia Sports Connection. We are coming to you from Appalachian Power Park, and our guest is the brand new general manager of the West Virginia Power, Jeremy Taylor. Jeremy, you're not new to the Power, but you're in a new position, yet again another new position. And speaking of new, I want to talk about the affiliation change, because the Pirates, obviously close to Charleston, you know, people really bonded with that experience. Sure. Well, now the Seattle Mariners have stepped in. Sure. How did that come about, and where did Seattle come from?
Well, Seattle actually had been wanting to get into the league for a long time.
Into the Sally League?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they're coming from the Midwest League, and they're actually coming from Clinton, Iowa. So the whole thing about minor league baseball is it's all about the player development from their side. Like we do the promotion and the silly stuff, and you know, but from the player development side, it's all about the players. And the big thing are repetitions. So they want their reps, you know, so like, let's say if you're the starting first baseman, they may say like, we like to at least for you to get 150 at-bats in a season. So coming from Clinton in April, you can imagine the weather there is not friendly. You know, and it was a facility that wasn't as, you know, I wouldn't say, well, it's not as great as this facility. So, you know, you would be hesitant to send your star players there because you don't want them to get hurt, you know, things like that. So they're starting off players in different areas that, you know, not necessarily was good for them. So they're trying to get reps. And here, at least in April, you have a decent shot at getting reps and reps and reps and reps and playing every day. I mean, in Iowa, you're looking at snow outs, rain outs, you know, things like that. So they came to us at the end of the year, and kind of you couldn't really talk to them at the end of the year, but as we went forward in the progression, they really wanted to be in the league. So, you know, mutually beneficial for us because they have a really good organization from top down. I've met everybody from the highest level, from the owner to the controller to the director of player development. I've met them all at the winter meetings in Las Vegas, and they want to put together a product that lets their players know that they want to win. So on that side of it, it's good. Now it's troubling because if you come to us from a lower team, you're coming from Washington, which is the low A team, which is like the rookie league team. And then if you leave here to go to the high A team, you have to go to Modesto, California. So needless to say, there's not going to be a lot of moves made. And we've actually had to have the conversation that if there are moves made, that we'll do them on the road. So that when you're in Carolinas, which is a lot of the South Atlantic League teams are in the Carolinas, that you would be able to go to Charlotte, direct flight to somewhere. You know, you have more flight options in Charlotte. We go down to Atlanta in the Rome area, and we're up in DC too. So when you're on the road, it's easier to make a player move because of the distance, I guess you would say.
Tell us a little bit, we talked prior to the show, talk a little bit, because what I found interesting was when you talked about players coming into your system, like you may or may not know when someone's coming or where they're coming from. And I'm not sure that like people understand that dynamic, because I would have had no idea of how that process of how a player actually gets here.
Yeah, and to this day, which is what, Wednesday the 27th?
Yep.
We still do not have a roster, and those guys break camp this Saturday to fly into Columbus and then catch our team bus back to Charleston. and we still don't know who's coming. Other than the coaching staff and the athletic trainer and the weight trainer, I couldn't tell you who's actually on that roster.
That's amazing. Your season starts the 4th, right?
Right.
It doesn't start here. It's on
Well,
the road.
and that's the thing is like you have to hypothetically put together a roster projection, because like Tuesday we have our media day here, which is when the local TV affiliates will come out, interview the prospects and the manager, what they can expect for 2019, and we literally had to send that press release out today and say, here are some this is a hypothetical roster. Now, I would say that roster is probably 70% true, because you almost count on everybody coming up from the short season team that they were on last year. So I think you'll see that, but there'll be some people that, they're still playing. They just played today in Phoenix. So somebody could get hurt today that they thought was coming to us, and you don't know. And then during the season, most of those moves are correlated with injuries, stuff like that, until you hit the draft. And then once you have the actual draft in June, that's when they start to fill out the short season team. Maybe move some people down to short season that they, like if they draft a college kid who's ready to play right now, they'll probably send him here instead of sending him to short season. It's just that's the way that the player development system works.
How does that actually impact or guide the coach? How much of that is coaching specifically, or meeting the at-bat number or the pitch number?
Well, and that's the thing, it's crazy, is like it does affect the coach a lot. Usually he's the first person that knows when that move's going to be made. He's probably in the conversations for those draft picks as well. I mean, probably not, I really want this guy.
Right.
Not in that level, but he knows that if we draft this kid, he's probably coming to you guys. So we'll have to make an alternate move to send somebody down to short season or something of that nature. But, like that affects the team operation, but it doesn't affect anything that we do internally.
Does the coach determine that, or does the organization?
It comes from the organization. Like each organization has, you have your GM and like your vice president, but then within the organization you have a baseball operations department. And so from there you have director of player development, assistant director of player development, and then those moves are correlated within that organization, with that entity. That's when they decide who's going where. There's not a lot of moves anyways, but if you get to the chance that you may make the postseason, there might be a few moves, but it's all usually based on injury, or you're not ready for this level's curveball yet, so they might send you back down.
As a GM, or was there any other specific position that you've held, how involved are you in that process of knowing and the changes that need to be made?
Right. Well, actually, I would say, I don't know what the years were. They all go together now. Maybe like 2008 to 2012-ish, I would handle the day-to-day operations between the Power and the actual affiliate, which then was the Pirates. Mm-hmm. So they basically will come to you and say, hey, we're making this move. And then you have to either keep it quiet. Like for instance, there was a time where when Bryce Harper was coming up and he was playing for the affiliate in Hagerstown, it was real quiet. He was coming to town, right? And so the Pirates said, well, you know what, we're going to put Jameson Taillon, promote him to the Power. And so we made this big deal about it because it was the number, Jameson Taillon versus Bryce Harper, and it was a big deal. And like we had to keep the Taillon thing quiet for a while, probably 3 or 4 days. But the first time that we knew we could announce it, I texted Josh Lewis and said, hey, Taillon's coming. He said, I'll be there tomorrow. So, but that does, I actually deal with them on a one-to-one basis. Like I talked to the manager today. I've talked to their athletic trainer and their coaching staff pretty much exclusively. You got to fill them out. It's our first year with them, so we were used to the Pirates, and I could guarantee you this and guarantee you this. But just the littlest things that you don't think about, post-game food, uniforms, things like that. It's a whole other entity, and it takes a lot of your time. Don't get me wrong. You got travel and stuff like that, but from what I've had to deal with already with them, it's so much easier than what I'm used to, I guess you would say.
Well, on that note, we're going to take another commercial break. Hey, listen, if you like what you see, you can check out our show on our Facebook page at WV Sports Connection. You can check us out on Facebook, on YouTube, on Apple iTunes, and our website at wvsportsconnection.com. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
You can do and you can say anything you want. Live your life and I'll live mine any way I want. You can have and you can take anything you want. But everything that you do, make it what you want. Anything you want. And I want. You can do and you can say anything you want. But everything that you do, make it what you want.
This isn't just a beer. It's a lager. A medium-bodied, amber-colored, one-of-a-kind beer. Made from those bold enough to brew it, for those bold enough to drink it. Tap into your inner eagle. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings.
It's football season again, and Tony the Tailor has the perfect sportswear, outerwear, and footwear. Johnny O quarter zips and sport shirts, Bill's khakis, and boots from Allen Edmonds are what the smart people are wearing this season for game time and playtime. We have a great selection in our downtown Charleston store, or shop at our new downtown Huntington location. Can't make it in? Shop online at bestmastertailor.com. Tony the Tailor, West Virginia's finest men's store.
West Virginia Sports Connection is brought to you by Subway, Development of West Virginia, Greg Hammond. With promotional consideration from Spriggs Distributing Company, Yingling Golden Pilsner, Hendrickson and Long, Briggs Commercial Realty, Angel Moore, Broker, Paul M. Corey, CPA.
Welcome back to West Virginia Sports Connection. Today we are coming to you from Appalachian Power Park, and we're talking with the brand new GM for the Power, Jeremy Taylor. And Jeremy, we went out, you're kind of talking about in the transition from the Pirates to the Mariners, and you know, that was pretty interesting stuff. But what I really want to know is now, what promotions do we got going on this year? What can we expect from this ballpark this year?
Absolutely. We spent the last 2 months internally trying to put together a promotional schedule that ultimately will bring the fans out. You know, but it's also fun. Like I said, 15 years, favorite F word this year is fun. So we're doing a lot of that stuff. You know, we got the Corona Beach House that we just built at the middle of the season last year. Corona's coming on to partner with us for Tropical Thursdays, 2-for-1 Coronas, different things in that nature. It's almost like an extra party deck if we need it that we can sell. But then as the individual promotions, you come into sitting down and thinking, like, what have we done? What have we not done yet? Everybody does bobblehead, you know. Everybody does the bobblehead. So we have one right now. I wish that I could announce the other one because it would blow your mind. But
You can't give us a little exclusive?
I can't. Like literally all we're waiting on is for this person to approve his likeness. Like the Austin Meadow bobblehead, we can do because he played for us. Mm-hmm. So if you have a picture of him in your jersey, you can do without getting, you know, any approval. This person, we want to do a big one at the end of the season. Luckily we have time. And we want to celebrate his, I could say that, it's his, you know, his career. But we're waiting on that approval. So, and the little things like, you know, at the end of June, we have Wheelers Weekend, which is a tribute back to the Charleston Wheelers. And then we're doing a replica jersey, Wheelers jersey of Dan Wilson, who played for the Wheelers in 1990 and 91, but 1990, which is when they won the South Atlantic League Championship, which is the last championship that was won in the league by this Charleston baseball team. And then we're doing something that's amazing this year. Something that the Toastman, Rod came to me with. And we're going to, as far as I can research it, we're going to be the first sports venue to do a Pride Night in the state. So that'll be June 6th, which is a Thirsty Thursday, $2 beer night. Downtown, right?
The benefits.
Right. And we're doing a pennant giveaway, and that's sponsored by Element Credit Union. And it's the power of Pride Night. And, we're looking forward to doing that. I mean, we have a lot, we want to be the place that is acceptable to go to for that, demographic, I guess. And then really the big thing that I'm looking forward to is the South Atlantic League All-Star Game. And that'll be June 18th.
That's the first time you guys have been able to host it here, right?
We hosted it in 2009, but the world is so different now. So, but I mean, 10 years ago we did it. We're actually fortunate that we've partnered with Festival, and this is their 15th season as well. So last year, Festival was 14 days. They've extended it one day, or actually put an extra day on the beginning of it to make it 15 days for 15 seasons of Power and Festival. Part of that whole thing is you have to host events for VIPs from staffs that are coming into town. So when we went last year, we took 6 people to Greensboro who hosted the All-Star game. And it's kind of like your midsummer, thanks for wearing yourself out from April to May, it's a big drinking party for all the staffs and everything. So Monday night, we're basically taking Live on the Levee and taking it to Monday. And we're doing a big concert, which was going to be announced on the 9th of April, in partnership with Festival. Not going to be a shocker who the band is, but it's going to be a good time.
How big, or when you talk about those events, and then you have the Marshall WVU game, what does that do for the park? What is the appeal that you're trying to get when you host all these different events, and what are the number of types of events that you actually host?
Well, so for instance, say like the All-Star game, you're bringing in a lot of people into the city from everywhere, from Lakewood to Georgia. So you're bringing in and you get a lot of traveling fans, because that's, if you're a host parent and you have a player that makes the All-Star game, you're probably going to get in the car and drive to the All-Star game just to see your player,
Right.
So ultimately, tying it in with the CVB, and the CVB is a large partner of ours, and that helps us promote the city,
right.
Working with the mayor's office and doing things like that. Ultimately, our goal in doing these extra events is to get people here that may or may not have been here yet.
Right.
And truthfully, the old joke in minor league baseball is, it's not a joke, it probably actually people need to follow it, but it's every day is opening day for someone. And there's still people that I met a girl yesterday, had a meeting with for an event we're doing, and she's lived in the city since she was 20, and she's in her 30s, and she's never been to the stadium.
Really?
Blew my mind. And she's a huge baseball fan. So I didn't understand that. But, ultimately we want to get you out to the ballpark, experience the ballpark, see how fun it can be. It's all about the fun. And if you have to have a place like this to have fun. And being that we're a dead center, Charleston, we're right off the interstate, there's no reason you shouldn't be here, at least 5-10 times a year. That, as a parent, and if I didn't work here, I can tell you when I grew up, I lived at Watt Powell, at least Fridays, Saturdays, and sometimes even more than that.
See, I can't imagine if I'm a diehard baseball fan and I lived anywhere close to the park, and there's baseball, it's kind of like football. Like, people travel just to go see a football game. They don't even have to care who's playing. I can't imagine how someone wouldn't be here if baseball was their thing.
I mean, you hear every different reason. Truthfully, you will hear every single reason. But I feel the same way. I mean, it's a sporting event. There's a lot of people here tonight with WVU and Marshall that came in from Huntington or came in from Morgantown to watch this game that normally probably wouldn't be here. So, that's opportunity to hopefully bring these people back. And, that's the idea with the promotions and the in-game promotions and stuff like that. It's a family place. It's, very few places you can bring your family like this. And still feel secure, and you're locked in.
We're seeing kids just running all around.
Right. Absolutely, and that's our goal. I mean, that's we want to bring people in to have fun, feel the experience, see the the concessions and the new menu, and come back. That's ultimately what it is.
Well, Jeremy, listen, man, we've run out of time. I want to thank you for coming on and letting everybody know what you guys got going on this year at the ballpark, and we wish you all the success, and we expect for me and Carl to be able to throw out a first pitch. I don't know how we'll do. We're taking side bets on who's going to reach home plate and who won't, but we'd love to come back, and we'd love to have you back on.
Absolutely. I appreciate it.
Buddy. Thank you, and best of luck.
Thanks for coming.
Hey, you've been watching West Virginia Sports Connection. Again, if you like the show, you can check us out on Facebook, on YouTube, on Apple iTunes, and our website at wvsportsconnection.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.